Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing the TM30 form in Thailand, and we are specifically discussing recent announcements of changes to the TM30 form. Now, I've gotten a lot of correspondence on this, basically asking the question in the title, does this mean the TM30 form is no longer required? Has the TM30 regime come to an end? For some of them, this comes kind of with a breathless pant because most folks are really anxious to see this thing go away. Sadly, the answer to that question for those folks is no, the TM30 form still exists. However, it is not what it once was, and I would argue that now the TM30 is arguably at least reasonable within the bounds of how the law is written. So the specific section of a recent update which was promulgated by the Thai Immigration Bureau, the specific section which I think is pertinent is section 2.2, and I'm going to go ahead and read an English translation. It should be noted, English is not the controlling language for purposes of matters pertaining to Thailand. This is for informational purposes only, but I've had this translation vetted by Thai attorneys here in the office, and they've said yes, that clearly articulates and reflects the concepts being conveyed in the Thai language version of the actual announcement itself. So 2.2, so basically they're amending this, and this is a translation of what 2.2 now looks like. After the householder, owner, or possessor of the premises of hotel manager has reported as defined in Article 2.1, so that just basically is an explanation of how the TM30 operates. The same alien has left the premises and returned for another stay within the valid period. The house, and this is key, another stay within the valid period, and I'll get to that in a moment. The householder, owner, or possessor of the premises of hotel manager do not need to make another report. The alien as defined in paragraph 1 shall include those who, being granted multiple visa, and I think they mean multiple, I think my translator means multiple entry visa, who leaves and returns to the kingdom with specified time in the visa, and those with reentry permits. So the thing to take away from this is, again, let me go through that key language. Within the valid period and multiple entry visa, who leaves and returns to the kingdom with specified time in the visa, and those with reentry permits. So as a practical matter, because the Thai Immigration Act is pretty clear that this 24-hour requirement is required, or it is required that folks check in with Thai immigration or the police when they come and go for longer than a 24-hour period from their main dwelling. And it appears that Thai immigration is now taking the regulatory position that utilization of a reentry permit or utilization of a reentry on a multiple entry visa is enough. That fulfills and satisfies the requirement under the law that these folks check in. And if you think about it from a commonsensical perspective, that is a check-in. You are running through an immigration checkpoint. You're checking in with an immigration officer when you're coming back into the country, or, well, when you're coming back into the country using either a reentry permit or a multiple entry visa. And for those who aren't aware, multiple entry visas, we generally see non-immigrant multiple entry B visas and non-immigrant multiple entry O visas here in the kingdom. Those are generally issued with a sticker validity of 1 year, so the visa itself is good for a year, but they provide lawful status in 90-day intervals to folks who enter the kingdom. The Thai reentry permit is issued to someone with an extension who then obtains a reentry permit. And those folks who leave the kingdom and return, they are still checking in with an immigration officer, and if they're using a reentry permit, they're checking in under their old status. So I think Thai immigration has found what, in my opinion, is a rather elegant way of dealing with the requirement under the law of the check-in, but not needing this constant refiling of a TM30 every time somebody leaves their house for a 24-hour period.